going to teach you a really cool trick to help you bridge the gap that you might be feeling with your kids. A lot of our kids today are struggling. They don't want to talk to us about it. Maybe for you, it feels like they keep you at arm's length. You love them so much, but they just pull away. And you might even have heard that this is normal for them to pull away, especially as they become teenagers. It's developmentally appropriate for them to pull away. But I'm telling you, it's not normal and it's not good for your kids to pull away from you. So don't believe that nonsense. But the problem might not really be with the kids, it might be with you. And more specifically, it might have to do with something that you never got yourself when you were a child. So, what I mean is that it's really difficult. Sometimes it's impossible to model deep connection if you never experienced it yourself when you were a child. A lot of the moms and dads I work with are really smart, very successful people. They run huge businesses, but they were raised in homes that looked great on the outside, but lacked warmth and real connection on the inside. And so for you, maybe your parents were there physically, but they were emotionally checked out. Maybe they were critical or busy or distracted. Maybe it just wasn't safe for you to have feelings, any kind of strong feelings around them. And so you learned to survive by becoming really capable, independent, invisible, the one who didn't need anything from anyone. And now you're raising kids, but you're parenting from a deficit that you don't even know you have. And you don't know how to model connection because you never got it yourself. In an earlier video, I talked about this idea of peer orientation. It really means that your kids start to anchor their sense of self and safety and identity and values in their friends rather than in you as their parents. And again, this can look harmless. It might even look healthy because we think, oh, they're becoming more independent now, or she's just going through a teenage phase. They've got their own life now. But behind these phrases, there is something much more serious going on. And it's a complete inversion of the attachment hierarchy. So if your child is no longer looking to you for guidance, but they're looking sideways to their peers, that's a problem. Why is that a problem? It's because these peers don't offer unconditional love. They don't offer wisdom. They don't offer life experience. They don't offer developmental safety. They are, by definition, immature themselves. And so when our kids attach to somebody that's immature, their own maturation gets stuck. It's really blunts their development. And here's the thing that's really dangerous about it. Peer orientation has become so normalized. It's culturally reinforced by social media and pop psychology. And it's done so much so that most of us parents don't even notice it anymore. We don't even see it as a problem. So how do we change this? How do we get back this attachment, this emotional connection with our kids? If this is what's been frustrating to you, I'm going to teach you something about how to do that. And it might be hard because you've been doubting yourself or, because again, you didn't have this yourself. But I'm going to teach you a simple thing that you can do. And it's very simple and it's very backwards from what you might be thinking. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a real story about a mom I'll call Kelly. We'll call her daughter Sarah. Now, their relationship was really complicated. They were close in some ways, but Sarah carried a lot of resentment towards her mom. So Sarah, at the time that I met them, was really struggling with self-esteem. She had been bullied. She had been socially rejected. She was kind of an awkward girl, very bright, but the pain had gotten so bad for her that she started hurting herself. She was cutting on herself. And then Sarah tried to take her own life. And when and it was a very serious attempt. And so when that happened, everything in mom's world, Kelly's world, came to a complete stop. And she didn't know what to do. And she had noticed again that Sarah had been increasingly distant from her. And after a while, she did this one thing that I want to share with you, and it was genius. Instead of trying to fix her daughter, which she couldn't have done anyways, she looked at herself and she looked at her own role in their relationship, in their broken relationship. And she decided, what is it that I'm doing that's keeping us distant? And what Kelly decided was that she had an anger problem. Now, that was hard for her to admit because she wasn't abusive. She was just quick tempered and impatient. And she didn't like that about herself, but she decided, well, here's something I'm going to work on myself. So again, this is what's backwards about it, but what's so beautiful about it. Instead of trying to fix her daughter, she tried to fix herself. When you look back at Kelly's childhood, no wonder she had so much anger. Her childhood was filled with violence and chaos. When she was a little girl, she had to keep all her feelings to herself. Her family was definitely not emotionally safe. You did not express feelings there. You stuffed your feelings, and then they turned into anger later on. So what Kelly did now when her daughter was struggling, she got help. It took many months of hard work. And she really almost eliminated this sort of anger problem that she had. The change was tremendous. And what really happened with her daughter is that it transformed their relationship, not just with her daughter, Sarah, but with all the kids. Let me teach you how she did this. Number one, she took a long, honest look at herself. Okay. She was really trying to see what is it that I need to do or change about myself. Number two, she then chose one weakness to focus on. And that, again, that was her anger and her impatience. And then three, she just worked on it every day for months. The last thing she did, number four, is that she actually got professional help. But the thing that I think changed everything really for her was that she owned it out loud. So she actually sat Kelly down. I'm sorry, she sat Sarah down and she said, Sarah, I have a problem with anger and I'm not proud of it. And I know that my anger has hurt you. I know it has hurt our relationship. And I want you to know that I'm working on changing this about myself. So she actually owned it and she verbalized it out loud. That's it. That one simple phrase to her in that moment, what she did for her daughter was she showed accountability, honesty, openness, and a willingness to change. And that made such a difference in their relationship. It drew her daughter back to her almost immediately. I'll tell you something interesting in my work with kids. I work with so many kids over the years. And when their parents start making real changes in their lives, you know what they tell me? They tell me they're shocked. They all of a sudden they have hope. They're astonished, and they want to change themselves too. So taking ownership is very powerful. It's not a one-time event. It's a way of doing things, but we have to admit the problem exists before we can fix it. So again, for those of you who didn't have a roadmap growing up, you may have never even seen what a healthy connection looks like. You're not stuck. You're not broken. It's not too late. One key for you is to look inward and work on something, change something about yourself. And again, it sounds backwards, but it models so many things and it will bring your child back to you. And again, not because you're a perfect parent, but because you were brave enough to look inward, own your stuff, and then choose connection over control. Now, if this has been helpful, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick one thing about yourself that might be hurting your relationship with your child, even if it's small. Just if you can't think of anything, ask your child, ask your spouse. They'll be happy to tell you what they want you to change. And then I want you to do what Kelly did. I want you to own it out loud. Let them know and then work on it. Get help if you need it. Work on it every day. And you will notice that your relationship with your child will change dramatically because of it. Now, if this message hits home for you, I want you to share it with someone who needs it. And if you're ready to stop parenting from a place of disconnection and start parenting from a place of healing, then I want to keep walking that road with you. So follow along, subscribe, and we'll do this together. And I'll see you next time.